well, I'm sorry to hear that, Stinky. That is dreadful, I have to say. What's that? He's rubbing it all over your work. Yes, well, I'm going to have a talk with your teacher because that is quite disgusting, I have to say. What's that? It's the Poppets. Oh, so it is. Hello, my little Poppets, mums and dads, and welcome back to story time once again. Well, Stinky and I were just having a little chat. Stinky was telling me about a boy in his class. A rather gross boy, I'm afraid. Well, I'm sure he's not gross, just his behaviour is quite gross. A boy sitting next to Stinky is picking his nose constantly and rubbing his boogers on Stinky's work. And not only is he rubbing it on his work, where else is he rubbing it, Stinky? On your desk, yes, on your desk, that's right. And it's a very, very gross habit, I have to say. And Stinky's quite upset about it, and I don't blame him. And I was just saying to Stinky I'm going to have to go down to his school and have a talk to his teacher because we've got to get this boy to stop doing it. Yes, so I'm going to have to do that, I think, this afternoon, Stinky. I'll have to ring on the telephone and make an appointment with your teacher so we can talk about this boy and try and get him to stop doing that because that is very, very gross, I have to say. Well, speaking of noses, my dear Poppets, and mums and dads, of course, today's story is called The Nose Pixies. And thank you, Stinky dear. And this does look like a cracker, I have to say, and very, very fitting with what's been going on today. This boy picking his nose. Yes, well, I think this is a very appropriate book for what's been happening at your school, Stinky. Yes, The Nose Pixies. And it does look like a good one. It really, really does. Yes. And here we go, my dear Poppets. Oliver had a bad habit. Well, there's Oliver there, my dear Poppets. And as you can see, he is picking his nose. Yes, a very, very dirty habit indeed. Yes, there he is there, and he seems quite proud of himself, I have to say. Very proud of himself indeed. I think he enjoys picking his nose. A really bad habit. A really stupendously, disgustingly, no doubt about it, Stinky, bad habit. Well, my dear Poppets, not only does Oliver pick his nose, but he also eats it as well, which is absolutely revolting, I have to say. Yes. Oh, and he eats it. Shocking, shocking business indeed. Oh dear, how on earth are they going to get Oliver to stop picking his nose? Yes, his mother needs to have a talk to him, I think. When Oliver heard his dad coming up the stairs, Stinky, for a bedtime story, he took his fingers out of his mouth and told them to be brave. Well, there he is there, sitting up in bed, tucked up in bed, ready for a bedtime story, and he's telling his fingers to be brave. You behave yourself, fingers, and stay out of my nose. Yes, well, I wonder if that will work. I just don't know. Let's hope that it does. Yes, and Dad's standing there with a concerned look on his face. Will you tell me the story of the belly-buttoned knight and the limped princess? Oliver begged. Or Hamish McEgg's fabulous fart jar. Oh, what a dreadful story. I love that story. Oliver's finger, fast as lightning, leapt into his left nostril, Stinky. Let's have a different story. Dad smiled. A 100% new, 200% true, 1,000,000% just for you story. Well, there's Dad there, and he has a brand new story that he wants to tell his little boy Oliver. I wonder what the story is going to be about. I just wonder. Yes. And there's nothing like a bedtime story, I have to say. Stinky loves a bedtime story. Once upon and underneath and round a time, Stinky, a tribe of fairies lived in the right royal kingdom of the Schnoz. They were tiny, even by fairy standards, but tougher than a goblin's underpants, and they called themselves, Stinky, what did they call themselves? The Nose Pixies, that's right. There are no such things, grumped Oliver. Well, there he is there, and Dad is telling Oliver, of course, about the Nose Pixies. Well, I have to say I had no idea there were Nose Pixies. So there you go, you learn something new every day. The Nose Pixies. Yes, Lord only knows what they get up to. Oh, but there are, exclaimed Dad. They're a bit like tooth fairies, but Nose Pixies don't have wings, and they only wear glitter on special occasions. And instead of collecting children's teeth, Stinky, they collect nose gold. Well, there's the Nose Pixies there, with a large rug spread out with lots of nose gold on that rug. And they're jumping for joy, of course, the Pixies, because they've found the nose gold, which is what Nose Pixies love the most. Yes, they most certainly do. Nose gold, which they deposit in the booger bank of snods, of course they do, and use to build their great golden cities and fabulous fountains, Stinky. They use their nose gold to craft glistening green artworks and snotwork toys. They use it to fuel their sneeze ships, their tissue trains, bless you buses, and wait for it, my poppets, hanky-copters. Yes, hanky-copters. And of course, they use it to prepare tasty pixie treats and oh so refreshing pixie drinks. The Nose Pixies use nose gold, Stinky, for absolutely everything. Well, there they are there, the Nose Pixies. And of course, my dear poppets, they are having pixie treats. Nose pixie treats, because that's what the Nose Pixies love to eat. Yes, look at them all there having a feast of pixie treats. How wonderful. A very, very green kingdom too, I have to say. Each night, King Muscus, the moderately magnificent, and her royal not very highness, Queen Achu, send teams of pixies to mind the nose of every child on Earth, Stinky. The pixies in one team, the Snot Rocket Squad, were named Sniffy, Drippy, Runny, Itchy, Snuffly, Blowful, and Decongestant. The Snot Rocket Squad were responsible for minding the nose of a 7-year-old boy named Oliver, Stinky. But that's my name, Oliver cried out, and I'm 7. What an amazing coincidence, said Dad. Well, there's Dad there sitting on the end of Oliver's bed and telling him all about the Nose Pixies, and what they get up to, of course. The Nose Pixies or Nosy Pixies. Yes, and all the adventures and things that they get up to. One night, I'm almost certain it was last night, the squad emerged from the rocket above Oliver's bed and parachuted Stinky onto his upper lip. Yes, you can see there. Nose Picks at the ready. Decongested barked and led them into the dark cavern of Oliver's left nostril. Oh dear. Well, there's Oliver's nostril there, and the Pixies have entered it, of course, because my dear poppets, mums and dads, I think those Pixies are looking for nose gold. Yes, I think they are looking for nose gold. I wonder if they'll find any. The Nose Pixies swayed and shimmered through Oliver's nostril hairs. Touching a single hair would trigger a sneeze. What's that? You wouldn't want him to sneeze. No, you would not. Every nose miner's worst nightmare. They made it through safely, but Oliver's left nostril was empty. The right was the same. Somebody had got to the nose gold before them. It was just the same as the night before and the night before that, and the night before that, and so on, Stinky. Well, my dear poppets, the Nose Pixies have not been able to find any nose gold in Oliver's nose. They have looked and they have looked, but they could not find any nose gold. What are they going to do? I just don't know. Oh dear, and I wonder why that is, my dear Poppets. Perhaps you know. Yes, we're just going to have to find out. Runny and Snuffly searched the bin for used tissues to harvest. Drippy and Itchy checked the loo, Stinky, but they found, what did they find, Stinky? They found nothing. No, they did not. They did not find anything at all. Well, my dear Poppets, I think the Nose Pixies are going to have to go back home empty-handed, without any nose gold. Oh dear, the King and Queen are going to be quite cross, I think. Yes, quite cross indeed. After mining Oliver for years and never finding a speck of nose gold, Blowful had had enough. He made the biggest, baddest nasal bomb the Pixie had ever seen. Fire in the hole, he shouted. Decongestant grabbed Snuffly's fire extinguisher and put out the fuse. After all, blowing up the noses of small boys is not nice. But the foam and the smoke triggered an almighty... Well, there they are there with smoke everywhere, and of course they've had to put it out. I wonder if that did the trick. I just don't know. What on earth is going to happen next with these Nose Pixies, dear oh dear? Sneeze! The Pixies were blown out of Oliver's nose, Stinky, and look at them all there. Well, there's Oliver, my dear Poppets, and he's had a great big sneeze there, and the Pixies are flying everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Oh dear. Oh dear, a great big sneeze indeed. Achoo! Well, I wonder what's going to happen next. Yes, it's getting very interesting, I have to say. And landed with a crashing thud. They would have to go home with empty handkerchiefs again. When the battered and bruised Pixies returned to the palace the next morning, Decongestant explained their failure. No nose gold, your awesome majesties. Oliver is a first-class picker. Oh dear, yes. Well, there's nothing left. He's picked his nose dry. And an eater, Snuffly added. No more excuses, yelled the king. If you don't bring me nose gold tonight, it's the bottom pit for the lot of you, Stinky. Oh yes, what's that? You don't like the sound of it? No, I don't either. Well, there they are there, and they've had to tell the king and the queen, my dear Poppets, that they have come back empty-handed. There is no nose gold. So I just don't know what they're going to do. Oh dear. Because as you know, as you heard early on in the story, they use pixie gold for everything. Nose pixie gold for everything. Do you think he meant a bottomless pit? Oliver asked hopefully. Nope, said Dad, and I don't need to tell you what pixies are forced to mine in the bottom pit, Stinky. Dad kissed Oliver once on the forehead and once on each cheek, just the way Oliver liked it. We'll finish the story tomorrow. But what happened to the Pixies? Oliver protested. Did they find nose gold? That's entirely up to you. Dad smiled and turned off the light. Oliver lay still in bed, then slowly and deliberately he picked... Well, there's Oliver there. And he's finished, the story has finished for tonight, and Dad has tucked him up in bed. And Dad is saying to Oliver, they will continue the story tomorrow night. Perhaps if he's a good boy and keeps his finger out of his nose. Fingers and toes crossed that he does. Yes, let's hope so. I hope so. Yes. He picked up his teddy bear, looked at the rocks above his bed and curled up to sleep. Well, there's Oliver there, my dear Poppets, and I think that story has done the trick because he has not put his finger up his nose and he's looking very, very sleepy and about to drift off to sleep. The end! And that was called The Nose Pixies. A very, very interesting, gross and cute story all rolled into one, I have to say. and a very, very good lesson, I think, Stinky, don't you? Yes, I most certainly do. The Nose Pixies. Well, my dear poppets, mums and dads, I hope you enjoyed that story, The Nose Pixies. I thought it was a particularly good one. Perhaps you could read a story about a boy called Oliver, or perhaps you could pretend to be a pixie and go mining for nose gold. And as always, my dear ones, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!